Hello everybody and welcome back to the Justin Rios Show, coming at you with part 2 of the mini first of cinema and television. I'm your host, Justin Rios. Let's not waste any time and dive right on in.
The television and radio stations of the United States and their affiliated stations are proud to provide facilities for a discussion of issues in the current political campaign by the two major candidates for the presidency. The candidates need no introduction. The Republican candidate, Vice President Richard M. Nixon, and the Democratic candidate, Senator John F. Kennedy.
For this intro on our list, there's quite a few first. The 1960 presidential election, when junior senator from Massachusetts, John F. Kennedy, defeated incumbent Vice President Richard M. Nixon. This was the first election to have all 50 states participate. Also the first election where the three-term rule was enforced, barring then-President Dwight D. Eisenhower from seeking a third term. On September 26, 1960 was the date of the very first presidential debate to air on television. It was also the first presidential debate ever. Given all the factors, the first debate drew a massive audience. Roughly 70 million people were watching nationwide. This was huge for JFK, as the first debate was a turning point for him. He went from a slight deficit in the polls to a narrow lead. Nixon performed much stronger in the following three debates, but they failed to garner anywhere near the number of viewers the first debate did, thus negating the impact of Nixon's strong performances. On December 21st, 1937, Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered at the Carthay Circle Square in Los Angeles, California. The very first feature-length animated film. The story goes that before the film was made, Walt Disney was advised by his brother Roy and his wife Lillian to not make the film. Major studios at the time were calling the film Disney's Folly. Walt allegedly said, "I know it's a good idea because they all think it's crazy." I found that line mentioned in a documentary about Disney, but I could not actually find a confirmed source for the quote. During production, it seemed people were right. The expected budget ballooned to $1.5 million, well above its initial budget of $250,000. But after its initial run, it held the record for the highest grossing sound film of all time. If you adjust for inflation, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the highest grossing animated film of all time, earning an adjusted gross of $1,963,000,000. The film was also a gigantic critical success, being nominated for the Best Musical Score, but unfortunately losing to 100 Men and a Girl. One thing that I found remarkably interesting is the following year at the Academy Awards, Walt Disney was presented with an award for Snow White. It was a one-time unique award. It had one regular-sized and 7 additional small statuettes, obviously representing Snow White and her 7 companions. Due to the massive impact the film had, the American Film Institute ranks it as the greatest American animated film of all time. For next on our list, we're going to travel almost 25 years further into the past. Hollywood and its obsession with remakes. Remakes are all over the place. Aladdin, Halloween, Red Dawn, Total Recall, King Kong, Godzilla, Batman, Spider-Man, Point Break, Flipper, Footloose, Freaky Friday, The Grinch, Karate Kid, Lady and the Tramp, and the list goes on. But the title for very first remake goes to The Great Train Robbery. In 1903, Edwin S. Porter made The Great Train Robbery for Edison Manufacturing Company. Some people consider it the first Western. The silent film was so well liked, Sigmund Lubin took it upon himself to remake the film. Only 1 year later, with the same exact name. In fact, it's pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of Porter's original. If only Sigmund knew how popular his idea would become decades later. Why make an original film when you can remake something that people already love? What you just saw was the intro to the very first cartoon to air on television. Crusader Rabbit debuted on August 1st, 1950. The show ran for 1 year and had 195 episodes. It was later revived in 1959 and ran for another 260 episodes, this time in color. From the multiple sources I have seen, Jay Ward may or may not have co-created the show with Alexander Anderson, but he was definitely a producer for the show. He would later go on to create The Rocky and Bullwinkle Show. As you can see, that animation was vastly different at the time. A lot of scenes are just a still image and a voiceover. Lucille Bliss was the voice of Crusader Rabbit, then replaced by Gigi Pearson for the revival. Unfortunately, I could not find confirmation on who hid in the barrel of a gun first, Crusader Rabbit or Bugs Bunny.
From Norman Lear,
Hotel Baltimore.
creator of All in the Family, Sanford and Son, another comedy milestone.
You cheat! Why would I cheat, you abominable old wretch?
Because you are black.
What did you say?
I said you are black. I'm red. You moved the wrong channel.
Right.
Hot L. Baltimore.
On January 24th, 1975, the Norman Lear produced sitcom Hotel Baltimore premiered on ABC. Spelled with the E missing, as the sign for the hotel had a burnt out E in the show, this was the very first show to have a warning label before every episode. All in the Family had a warning label, but that was only for the very first episode, and it was abandoned after that. Unfortunately, the show was short-lived. Apparently, not everything Norman Lear touches turns to gold. After what seemed like an impossible streak of success for him with shows like All in the Family, Sanford and Sons, Maude, Good Times, The Jeffersons, he just couldn't seem to find success with this one. This was his first show on ABC instead of CBS. I doubt that was the reason why this show didn't do well, but it's another first to add to this entry. And that'll be it for this episode. That was part 2 of the many firsts of cinema and television. Thank you everybody who stuck around and watched the whole thing. I'm definitely going to make a part 3, 4, and potentially a 5. I just genuinely really like making these videos. I had a lot of fun with this one. Again, thank you for watching my show.